Welcome back. Over the past 6 weeks, massive wildfires have spread across Canada, causing mass evacuation and burning through more than 3.3 million hectares of land. Smoke from the fires have spread across large portions of US, affecting air quality for millions of across East Coast. Human activity, technology and products such as campfire, power lines, agricultural burning and off-road vehicles typically cause more fires in early part of fire season, while lightning causes those in late summer. But can we relate these things with the climate change? Climate change has emerged as one of the most critical challenges facing humanity and the planet. It refers to long-term shifts in weather patterns and average temperatures, primarily caused by human activities that release greenhouse gases into atmosphere. Each wildfire cannot automatically be linked directly to climate change. The science is complicated, and human factors like how we manage land and forest also contribute here. But scientists say that climate change is making weather conditions like heat and drought that lead to wildfires more likely. Though even many of us today think that human-induced climate change is the story for the far future, but it is an ongoing process. Ecosystems and communities around the world are being impacted today. But how the climate is actually changing? We see climate change affecting our planet from pole to pole. NOAA monitors global climate data, and here are some of the changes NOAA has recorded. The first one is global temperature rose by 1 degree Celsius from 1901 to 2020. Second, sea level rise has accelerated from 1.7 mm per year throughout most of 20th century to 3.2 mm per year since 1993. The third is glaciers are shrinking. Average thickness of 30 well-studied glaciers has decreased more than 60 feet since 1980s. Fourth is the area covered by sea ice in the Arctic at the end of summer has shrunk by about 40% since the 1979. Also, the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere has risen by 25% and by about 40% since the Industrial Revolution. Along with these things, snow is melting earlier compared to long-term averages. Experts believe there is still time to avoid the most negative of outcomes by limiting warming and reducing the emission to zero as quickly as possible. Reducing the emissions of greenhouse gases will require investment in new technology and infrastructure, which will spur job growth. We can understand climate change by three things: water, food, and human health. With water, flooding is an increasing issue as our climate is changing. Compared to the beginning of 20th century, there are both stronger and more frequent floodings. Conversely, drought is also becoming more common, particularly in the western United States. Humans are using more water, especially for agriculture. Much like we sweat more when it is hot out, higher air temperatures cause plants to lose or transpire more water, meaning farmers must give them more water. Both highlight the need for more water in places where supplies are dwindling. If we talk about food supply, it depends on climate and weather conditions. Although farmers and researchers may be able to adopt some agriculture technologies or develop new ones, increased temperatures, drought and water stress, diseases and weather extreme create challenges for the farmers. And now to human health, climate change is already impacting us. Climate change worsens air quality. It increases exposure to hazardous wildfire smoke and ozone smoke triggered by warmer conditions, both of which harm our health, particularly for those with pre-existing illness like asthma or heart diseases. The most vulnerable groups, including children, the elderly, people with pre-existing health conditions, and people with low income, are at even higher risk because of the compounding factors from climate change. The ocean temperatures rise, hurricanes are getting stronger and wetter, which can cause direct and indirect deaths. Higher incidence of flooding can lead to the spread of waterborne diseases, injuries, and chemical hazards. The climate change is also affecting global economy. According to 2018 National Climate Assessment, unless action is taken, climate change will cost the US economy as much as $500 million per year by the end of this century. And that doesn't even include its enormous impacts on human health. In the near future, between 2030 and 2050, climate change is expected to cause an additional 250,000 deaths as per from things like malnutrition, insect-borne diseases, and heat stress. And the World Bank estimates that climate change could displace more than 140 million people within their home countries in sub-Saharan Africa, South Asia, and Latin America by 2050. But if we need to control this climate change, we have to take more efficient steps forward. The first is replace organic fuels with clean energy. We must replace coal, oil and gas with renewable and efficient energy resources. Thankfully, with each passing year, clean energy is making gains as technology improves and production costs go down. But in order to meet the goal of reducing global carbon emission by at least 45% by 2030, which scientists tell us we must do if we have to avoid this deadliest impact, we must act faster. The second step is sustainable transportation. Transportation is a top source of greenhouse gas. So eliminating pollution from the billions of vehicles driving across the planet is essential to achieve the net zero global emission. Also, we should adopt to the effective and efficient new methods of energy like geothermal and hydroelectricity, biomass energy, solar, wind energy. We should make sustainable buildings and agriculture. So yeah, climate change is real and the entire world have to work together and faster to control it.